This is Rob Temple Boxing Social in association with Betfred. Delighted to be joined, as always, by Dillian Whyte, the most popular man in the room. We're here in London at the Conor Ben Coivaler, I think I've got that right, press conference here in London ahead of the York Hall show on Friday. How you doing, Dean?
I'm good, you know.
How you dealing with superstardom?
I don't know about superstardom, but I'm a big fan, favourite of the fans, and I seem that I'm a favourite of theirs also. So, I'm happy, you know what I mean?
How's the boxing management going? You seem to be everywhere at every press conference. You've got another fighter on this bill.
No, oh yeah, we have actually. Obviously, we've signed bloody hell, my mate Dwayne. Yeah, my brain's gone a bit blank. Apologies. So he's fighting. So I've come to watch him, and I come to see Richard and Stirling. You know what I mean? Because that seems like genuine animosity, light heavyweight division again. So we've got Dwayne, and then we've got Shaq and Peters. So obviously keeping an eye out and seeing what's going on.
Light heavyweight division's really buzzing. I mean, you've talked about Shaq and Peters, you've got Dwayne Sinclair, you've got that fight, Josh Boatzy, Anthony Yard. Talk to me about that little mix.
The UK is phenomenal. You got Hutchison, Willie Hutchison, really good. You've got, what's the other one? Jose Burton. You've got a lot of guys coming up in that division. It's stacked, and then when you get to world level, it's monstrous. So we got to play the real chess game to get ahead in that game. You don't want to be head on facing everyone and being a silly bugger. So it's just about being smart, looking who's there, let these guys fight each other and match your guys smartly after with whoever's still standing.
Let's talk about the top of the card and work our way down. So Conor Ben headlines his first show here at York Hall. Conor's somebody who, by his own admission, has let the pressure get to him in the past in a way of not pressure getting to him, but letting him potentially forget his game plan. How difficult is it going to be for him to keep a lid on things at York Hall when you get that bear pit atmosphere?
Do you know what? I know Conor. Conor's a cool guy. We've met him, me and my bro Dillian, a few times and sat down and spoke to him about this because he's got the name Ben on his back, and that was already pressure from the beginning. So he's come on leaps and bounds. If you look at him from when he actually started, a young, fresh kid coming from, where was he, Australia? And he's transformed himself, and what it is, you can see he's someone who works very, very hard in the gym. So I'm happy for him. I remember he had was it Pinard? He had that hard fight. Yeah, he had a hard fight with him. He had a hard fight with the other kid where there was numerous knockdowns, and he got a win, which was close. A lot of people had him losing that fight, so some would say he might be lucky, but at least he's gone on from there and learnt from his mistakes and knuckled down and just marched on. But like I said, I like him. He's a good kid, and a lot of these boys, even with Sinclair, I said to him just now, don't make the mistake of a lot of these guys going in there and making the pressure get to you because you want to please and you want to go for a knockout because you want to please your fans that have come. Because what could happen? You could get yourself knocked out going for it. So be smart. You've got 8 rounds to get the job done, or 10, or whatever have you. Use your jab and be patient. And a lot of these boys, the pressure does get to them, especially when you're talking about your headline in a show now at his tender age, you know what I mean? So it's good for him. He's come on, so he just needs to go out there and show his maturity now, And
we've mentioned Andre Stirling versus Craig Richards. We love a domestic fight over here. That's got a little bit of spice as well. Saw a little bit of video of them outside the Peacock exchanging pleasantries. How good a fight is that?
Do you know what? I didn't pay a lot of attention at first, and when I saw it, and I was like, right, that would be a good fight. And then I realised, hold on, they're actually bloody fighting. I forgot, because I've been travelling, I was in a wedding, I've just been all over the place. So I didn't really I sort of, when you glimpse something, and I was thinking, okay, but then I realised they're fighting. So I mean, listen, you've got Craig. He's been on the big card quite a lot. He's come off a great win against Jake Ball. I don't know much about Stirling. Obviously, looks like Craig's got the reach advantage, and he's fought the better caliber opponents, But then what you have is you've got Stirling who beat Craig in the amateurs, so he's got that on his back. Maybe that will haunt him, and maybe he might be overawed or over eager to try and get him out of there because he feels like he doesn't belong at this level, which sometimes happens, and he might get caught. So let's hope Craig is sensible and goes out there and boxes good, and I hope Stirling comes out there and lives up to obviously the hype and the talk what he's saying about himself. He believing that he's the better guy. But we're in for a good night Friday night.
That's your analyst head on. From a managerial perspective, are you looking at the winner of that fight as a potential fight for Dwayne Sinclair or Shaq and Peters?
No. Shaq, I'm in negotiations to getting him a fight for the English title against Dexter Spellman, hopefully. It's obviously not out there, but he's got the title, and that's the route we're going. So that should be, I don't think it'll be his next fight. He might be fighting in July, but in September, we're just negotiations on the way, and hopefully we'll do that on maybe a warrant card. It should be on a warrant card.
Okay, moving away from the show on Friday night, your slightly less famous brother, Dillian Whyte, returns to the ring on July the 20th against Oscar Rivas. How's he been looking in camp?
Listen, Dillian doesn't mess about, man. He goes in there. He's a true professional. Obviously since the Joshua defeat, he's knuckled down, and he's always make sure. Since then, he never wants to not be in the best shape, and he's put himself in Loughborough. And listen, you can't ask anymore. Listen, he's a fighter that always wants to improve, always wants to better himself. There's a lot of fighters that are not like that, who you have to coax. You got to tell them, get in, go and run, go and get to the gym, go and box. He's the guy you got to tell, slow down. You need to not train so much. That's him. He wants it so bad. He's all balls and glory and heart, you know what I mean? And he's added the boxing experience to that. So, listen, come on July the 20th, we're gonna have a great fight with Oscar Rivas. He's an unknown quantity. I've seen him fight. He looks explosive. He's got good knockouts, but let's see how he performs on this kind of level because he's never been here. So obviously the fans don't know about him, but I'm sure they will know that he's not a pushover. He won't be Schwartz, put it that way. No offence to Tyson Fury, I like him. He's done an excellent job, but he's not Schwartz. You know what I mean?
I was just about to come on to that. Dillian had a few things to say about the Tyson Fury-Tom Schwartz fight. I'm sure you watched the fight. Talk to me about it.
Do you know what? Listen, you only can beat who's in front of you, So credit to Tyson Fury. He put on a boxing clinical. He looked really great. Jabbed his nut off and then got him out of there. I don't think Schwartz should have been in the ring with him. That's personally my thing. He weren't on that level, and you could clearly see that. You know what I mean? I know Tyson Fury makes a lot of people look really simple-minded because of his boxing ability and his boxing brain and his movement. But Schwartz weren't. He weren't there. He tried a little bit, and then he just got stopped. You know what I mean? Head first, he kept running in head first and he got his nose busted up, and he just weren't on the level. But listen, you got to still beat who's in front of you, and we got to give him credit for that.
That realistic fight for Dillian later on in the year? I know there's been a lot of talk about Wilder Fury 2, but with the kind of Joshua Ruiz thing floating around, I think everyone's treading a little bit carefully at the minute. Is that potentially what we could see in the end of the year?
Fight, I think he's asked. He said a lot of things, Tyson Fury. He said, if they make it for the diamond belt, he'll do this, and then they sanction that. And then he said, listen, I don't need to fight the likes of Dillian Whyte. And I don't blame him. It's a tough fight, unnecessary, with a strong, hungry young man who's got a burning desire that can't be quenched. So, he's not going to take that fight, and I can't see that happening. Yeah, I think, like they said, they've got their contract, and they've got opportunity to fight a lot lesser opponents for a lot more money, a lot of money also. So I can't see it happening. We've got to get past Rivas first, and then we'll look at the landscape and see who's out there and who's available. We definitely don't want to overlook. We saw what happened when people overlook people. Not saying I'm not 100% Joshua overlooked him, but there was something going on there, and he came a cropper, and we've got to congratulate Ruiz. You know what I mean?
Just finally, we've seen Mauricio Sulaiman have a few things to say recently. I was quite surprised, not somebody who often shares his opinion, but he has on the whole Dillian WBC mandatory situation. I'm sure you'd have seen the comments. What did you make of them?
I kind of vaguely saw them. Sometimes what I do, I look at them vaguely. If there's anything of note, I might take and put in my brain. But listen, I don't listen to anything they've said. They said a lot of things over the past, and nothing's come to fruition. I mean, listen, as we already know, Wilder's fighting Ortiz again, and then he's going to fight Fury. So even if he's made the Rivas and Dillian Whyte for the interim world title, Dillian has no chance of fighting him for a while because he's fought his mandatory. So he doesn't need to fight one for another 18 months to 2 years. So we'll possibly be out in the cold. But let's see, because things could change. They could get injured, and loads of things could happen. Boxing's a strange place, you know what I mean? Who would have thought Ruiz would be world champion right now? So, we just got to see how the land lies, and hopefully we'll get a chance for our world title shot soon.
The WBC's been number one for 600 days, but is the WBO now starting to look like a more likely route for Dillian?
Yeah, that's been spoken about for some time, because obviously Usyk hasn't fought for a while, but I don't know if he's. Yeah, so that's what it was. So we got to see what happens there, and the IBF is a possibility if they strip Ruiz, because Pulev's mandatory. If they strip him, we could probably try and see if we can negotiate for Pulev, but not in Bulgaria, in the UK. But then it will be made. So there's lots of opportunities.
Okay, well, Dean Whyte, always a pleasure catching up with you.
Thanks very much.
Thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social. Catch up with you soon.
Soon.
Cheers, mate.